Well, hi, everybody, and welcome to All Things Brunswick. I'm Mary Stillwell. My host this evening is...
Todd Osborne.
Thank you, Todd, for being with us, co-host, I should have said. We, we plan to share with you this evening some things that are happening in the county, also some things that are happening with our show. So I think probably I'll start out by telling you where you can tune in to watch the show. It is called All Things Brunswick. You will find a Facebook page and an Instagram page entitled All Things Brunswick. You can also go to YouTube under that name. And the big talker is whatever parts of that network are still out there, we're with them. And we also have an email address if you would like to write it down, and we would love to hear from you.
Absolutely.
Anything that you would like to see on the show, any type of feedback, we welcome it. Mm-hmm. And that email address is allthingsbrunswickcounty@gmail.com. Simple. And folks, I need you to know this is all brought to you by Coastal Carolina Network. We love these guys. TK and CB, you're the best. You rock. We have some very interesting things coming up, things of importance within the next month or so. Todd, why don't you tell us about the primary in May?
May 14th.
Mm-hmm.
I think early voting starts April 11th. It's only at the Brunswick Center.
Right.
So please get out and vote. We have the state auditor's position that still has to be decided, and the lieutenant governor's position that has to be decided.
Early voting is from April 25th to May 11th.
Okay. I had it backwards.
That's okay. There will be no weekend voting, no Saturdays, no Sundays until the very last Saturday. And then it will only be until 3 o'clock. The only place that you can vote is at the complex at the Board of Elections. It's the only early voting space that they will have open. On May 14th, the actual voting day, every one of our polls, our municipalities will have every poll open. If you are from that municipality, on that day, you will have to vote there. You will not be allowed to vote anywhere else.
And now this is a Republican primary.
Exactly.
There's not a Democratic primary this
time,
is it?
No. Okay. Nope. And we have 2 candidates in each race on primary day. For lieutenant governor, we have Hal Weatherman and Jim O'Neill. If you would like to read up about them, if you go online under their name, I'm sure that they have a profile available. And for state auditor, we have David Bolick and Jack Clark. And the same thing applies to them.
And I believe all 4 of them have pages on Facebook. So if you're on Facebook, you can look them up even easier there. You don't get tangled up in all the other stuff on the internet.
Exactly. So how important do you think a primary is, Todd?
Extremely. The races were so close that it's that necessary. Mm-hmm. Both races had multiple candidates, which can be an issue sometimes, and that's why we end up with these runoffs.
Right.
But yes, people definitely need to get out and vote.
One of the stipulations with a specific candidate in a race that has many candidates is that they must receive a certain percentage of the vote. If that person who wins the actual primary does not receive that percentage, the second person who receives the most votes is the person who can request a primary. So that is what has happened here, and that is why we will be voting again on May 14th.
And it's a vote. We definitely need to pay attention to who we're choosing.
Sure.
Especially the lieutenant governor's position, that has a lot to do with our educational system in our state.
I think, I don't think people realize how instrumental that person is in our Board of Education. And that seems to be a major conflict at this time.
Oh, yeah. Our school boards are catching heck from parents, and unfortunately, sometimes they don't always have the guidance they need. So we need to make sure we keep the right people in there. We need to be teaching our children how to succeed, not other issues.
Right. I agree. You can say, you're so cautious.
I'm trying to be polite.
That's okay.
But, I mean, there's just some things that are better left at home.
Yeah.
I'll put it that way. You look at other countries, and just like with TikTok, in China, the children there, it's all educational. There's no social interaction on them. It's all educational.
Right.
And we used to be that way in this country, and we've kind of moved away from it. And we used to call it the 3 R's.
Exactly.
I like the new term STEM: science, technology, engineering, and math. We need to get heavier into that.
Yes,
And
I
I
agree.
think that needs to be our primary focus. But voting for the proper person for lieutenant governor helps guide us in making that happen.
You're absolutely right. I think that's a plus. Our schools, unfortunately, have changed considerably, of course, since I've gone and you've gone. Maybe it's more difficult for us to agree to what they're doing because of that. But nevertheless, if you look at statistics, you will find we have a lot of children that are not learning. And I know of some young people at this point that will not graduate this year. And that is very sad.
Extremely.
Yeah.
I've seen where kids are going into college and going into the military and all, and they have no clue how to use a debit card.
Or write a check.
Yeah.
Or balance a checkbook. What is that? I had this young lady say to me, "What is that?"
Yeah, the bank does it for me. Well,
Yeah,
if that
right.
hasn't hit yet, it hasn't.
It makes me wonder what they're teaching. I mean, I'm not trying to rain on the teachers at all, because I know they work very, very hard. And I know some teachers that are just awesome because their main concern are those students. But is it possible that they have a curriculum that they must follow? So therefore, they what is in that is not. It's not teachable, or I don't understand what the problem is.
Well, and that's where it might even be a good idea to get some teachers on the show
Yeah.
to talk to them about that.
Good idea.
What problems are they facing?
Yeah.
I do know that some of them, the curriculums are so specific, but the thing is teachers used to, if they realized a student was falling behind, they could change things a little bit. Now everything seems to have a date. They have to be at this point in the year.
Right.
And so it's wide open, and you can't slow down and help these catch up. You just have to keep going. And I don't know if that's still the issue, but that's one of the issues I've heard of in the past. When I say the past 5-10 years, COVID kind of really messed
it did
things
a
up
number on
terribly.
us. Yeah.
But I mean, we can all sit and play Monday morning quarterback on that.
Yeah, for sure.
It's created problems, and I don't think anyone has truly grasped the best way to handle it and to recover from it. I think the teachers are trying. I also think that the teachers sometimes their hands are tied.
Yes, absolutely.
And
And I have to say, I'm going to give recognition to some teachers at South Brunswick, and I'm not going to do names, but I have to tell you, for those of you that are concerned with the student and give them the opportunity to make up and get graded for it, I think that is a plus. I think that is the most wonderful thing that you could do for that child. Because it takes a while, I think, for a student to realize that I've got to do this. And then it's very scary, because then that student says, oh my gosh, if I don't do this, I'm not going to graduate. And I know of at least 2 teachers at South Brunswick that are awesome, because they have given these kids the opportunity to make up what they missed, and then they will grade them accordingly with no regard to being late. And I think that's wonderful.
I'd be curious to find out too if maybe because the way the curriculums are lined up, if that might be part of the problem is the teacher can't slow down during the process and help them along the way.
It could
so
be.
they don't have to get to that point
Right.
where they have to make
Yeah.
it up.
And
And
you're
I'd be
right,
curious.
Todd, because I have heard kids say, I didn't get the help I needed because everything is so busy. So, I don't know what the answer is, and I know that there are a whole lot of problems. I'm very concerned with the schools. I have babies in schools too, and it bothers me. So, but I think that I think we both agree that it's very important that we have the right lieutenant governor in place,
Absolutely.
so that he can look at this problem and respond to it.
I have to agree. We got to get it right. We're so far behind the curve now with educating our children that if we don't start stepping up and making changes, the rest of the world's going to leave us behind.
Yes.
You
Yes.
know, it's unfortunate and the immigration issue is impacting that greatly. These children coming into the country and all, and getting thrown in schools, and many don't speak English.
I know.
And so imagine being the teacher who all of a sudden has 2 or 3.
I know. That must be so hard on them.
Yeah, I know of one teacher at the other Brunswick High School. I can't remember the name of it. Is it West? Okay, West Brunswick High School. She's actually having to learn Spanish
Really?
because of the children coming in that don't speak English.
Wow.
And now she's not being required to. She's doing it on her own.
Sure.
But it's such a problem that she felt it necessary that she has to do this to
Well, I
prepare for what's
commend
coming.
her. I definitely commend her for taking the time to learn it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
And this, I'd like to invite everybody to come out to the Brunswick County Republican headquarters on Thursday night, where there will be a panel of a county commissioner, our county sheriff, a couple of other people that are in well-known places in our county, and they will be discussing immigration issues and the children and the toll that it is taking on people and our county.
yeah.
So
I'm looking
please,
forward to
it's
that.
open to the public. Please come out 6:30, 971 Old Ocean Highway. Come out and listen. I think it's important that we are aware of
Yeah,
what's
we need to
going
know
on.
what's happening in our county. And, unfortunately, we can't count on the federal government for help right now. So we're going to have to deal with it.
Right.
And work, just hearing, like the sheriff, for example, tell us what they're seeing, what we can prepare for, what we can do
Right.
to protect ourselves, what we should be watching out for,
Exactly.
all these things. And I'm pretty sure knowing our sheriff, he's probably going to cover all
Oh,
that.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
so I'm looking forward to hear what he's got to
Me
say.
too. I'm just, I am so happy that we have Brian Chisholm as our county sheriff. I couldn't be happier. He is the best. So please do join us on that evening. Okay, so once again, let me read these names to you for the May 14th primary. For Lieutenant Governor, there is Hal Weatherman and Jim O'Neill. State Auditor is David Bolick and Jack Clark. So go ahead and look them up, folks, and please do your civic duty and go vote for our children's sake and many other reasons.
Absolutely.
Well, I want to share with you, I had such a great time last Tuesday. I sit on the state executive committee, and last Tuesday in Selma, it was our task to choose a new state chair. Michael Watley, who is awesome and has been our state chair, was moved up the ranks,
Big time.
and he is now our national chair. And we are so very proud of him because he really is the best. But we all met in Selma. I'm going to just, I'll do an approximate because I can't be really sure how many people were there, but I'd say about 400.
Wow.
The room was packed, everybody from all over the state. We had 3 great candidates that ran, and our present director of the Republican Party statewide, Jason Simmons, is now our state chair. And we are so happy to hear that because Jason has been working close with Michael Watley for a long time. It's just kind of like going right into carrying on what we're doing. I want to congratulate him, and I'm very happy for him, and I know that we will all work very, very hard to support him.
Didn't y'all have a special caller?
Oh, yes. And during, Michael Watley attended, and during the meeting on that evening, Mr. Watley had a special call from a gentleman who was supporting Jason Simmons, and he called to wish everybody good luck, and his name is Donald Trump. So it was a very impressive evening. I think I enjoyed watching the process because I've been to state convention when we have elected a chair and a vice chair, et cetera, et cetera. But this was a different kind of a process I have never been involved in. And it was very interesting.
I bet it was.
It was very, very interesting. It's very important to choose the right person. And we voted by paper ballot, okay?
No hanging chads, right?
Each candidate had a few minutes to talk to the crowd. We also had some folks that nominated them, and they were allowed a few minutes to let everybody know why they nominated that person and why they should vote for him. And then we, after the vote, when the tellers take the votes in the back to count, each candidate has an individual that he trusts to go back in to watch the counting.
Right.
And I just when I hear that or see something like that, it's like it is such a democratic process, and it's such a great country that we live in. So I had a great time. I learned a lot, and it was a wonderful evening. Got to see a lot of friends I haven't seen, and so folks, if you are not affiliated with the party, I suggest you do so. I really do. I mean, it's just awesome. I had to share that with you. And by the way, our vice chair is still Susan Mills, and she's wonderful. Susan is a teacher. She is very, very good at her job, and she loves teaching, and she is doing an excellent job as our vice chair as well. So kudos to her.
And she doesn't slow down either.
Not at all, no. And to Jason, and we wish you the very best, Jason.
So what else have we got? What are
Well,
we working on for
Todd and I
future
talked.
shows?
Todd and I talked yesterday a little bit about all things Brunswick. For those of you who aren't aware, Todd came to the show a month ago.
Yeah, a little over.
Yep, and I have asked him if he would like to co-chair with me, and he agreed, and I'm thrilled. So you'll be seeing his face. But I think before we go any further, we'd like to hear a little bit about you.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You don't want to lose the audience that quick,
No,
do you?
we want to tell the audience a little bit about you, Todd.
I'm North Carolina born and raised. Spent most of my life at Fort Bragg. My wife and I decided that we wanted to retire to Brunswick County. And so we bought a place here about 3.5 years ago, and I've been renovating it ever since, waiting for her to retire. And but since I got here, I was very involved. I've spent over 30 years working with town government in Hope Mills and with the county, Cumberland County, trying to help resolve issues and solve problems, preferably before they became problems.
Right.
And when I moved down here, I did the same thing with City of BSL, and I've been helping them with that and trying to work some with the county now to try to resolve some of the issues that are in our county.
How long have you been retired, and what did you retire from?
I retired from North Carolina Department of Transportation. I retired in 2012,
Okay.
so been a little while.
Yeah.
But when they say you retired, you got time to do whatever you want to do. That dog don't
No.
want.
I can swear to that.
When you have a wife and children and grandchildren, and
Sure.
they all have a to-do list. I tell
Yeah.
everyone, most guys have a to-do list. I have a to-do novel. And so,
Yeah.
but we're just trying to help make our community better.
That's great.
I don't care what town you live in, what county you live in, you've got issues. And it takes citizens stepping up. If you think you're going to elect someone to office who has all the answers,
Wrong.
you're dreaming. It's not going to happen.
Wrong.
Most of the best leaders that I found were the people that talked to everyone else. Okay, give me what you've got on this.
Right.
And somewhere in the middle is where you find the best solutions. Unfortunately, with the divisiveness of our country, people tend to talk at each other instead of to each other.
Yes, they do.
And if we can get back to talking to each other, even on issues where we are polar opposites, we can work together and come to the middle and find better solutions.
Exactly. And this is one of the things that impressed me about Todd, folks. He is the person that wants to hear both sides. He is the person who really wants to talk with you, not at you. And I, for one, am very happy you're here and you're going to make a great co-host. So thank you so much for
I'll
coming.
try not to let you down.
Oh, I know you won't. And on that note, we're going to take a break and pay some bills. We will be right back. What a great place we all call home. From colorful sunsets to panoramic coastal views. The best attractions are its people, a community of friends and family. J.K. Summers, attorney at law, recognizes this fact and is proud of his work to protect their rights. Put your trust in him to prepare wills and trusts, real estate transactions, contract and LLC creations, and criminal, traffic, and civil matters. Visit oakislandlaw.com or call 910-253-5572. J.K. Summers, attorney at law.
Veteran Awareness sponsored by You Are Not Alone. Today's veteran homeless rate is approximately 19,750, and the numbers are declining because of the various veteran programs. If you are a veteran you know is homeless, please call 877-4AID-VET. This is a confidential and toll-free call. From this veteran to other veterans, please be there to help our brother and sister veterans. Again, the number is 1-877-424-3838. And thank you for your service.
Welcome back, folks, to All Things Brunswick. I'm Mary Stillwell. My co-host is Todd Osborne, and we are so happy that you're with us.
Absolutely.
We're talking about local issues, and I thought maybe we would spend the second half hour talking about some things that we recently have heard. And Todd is pretty knowledgeable on one of the subjects as far as trees in our area and what we have and what is stable, what isn't. We know that the Brunswick County Commissioners have asked the state to allow them to have the say over what we do with our trees in the county. As you know, that we have some beautiful oaks.
Mm-hmm. Historic oaks.
Historic oaks. We have not many maples. We have a billion longleaf pines. And I'm going to turn it over to Todd to tell you a little bit about tell us about the longleaf pine, their life expectancy, how they come to be, and because that's the first thing that people see when they look into a field.
That's the North Carolina tree.
Yeah, yeah.
We have more than our fair share. What a lot of people don't realize is pine trees, while they can live up to 300 years old, you'll never find one in North Carolina. The hurricanes typically destroy them. They do hold up well in hurricanes, but over time, you're going to lose sections. You can kind of come through after a hurricane, and you've probably seen, you can look out across the field, and it looks like the field just continues on because all the trees are ripped out, and they will snap off. Pine trees will flex a good bit, but what a lot of people don't realize is pine trees are a commodity, just like corn, soybeans, all that. Go to Lowe's, all that lumber, 90% of it was a pine.
Wow.
And so it is a marketable commodity. And many of the timber companies will come in and they'll clear cut the land, but then they clear the land and replant. And their planting cycle's about 30 to 35 years. And then they'll harvest those trees again. Those trees, it's not as big a deal as like the oaks, because they really don't. They take longer to get up to full size, but they last longer.
Oh, they're beautiful too.
150-year-old oaks. There's several of them in Southport.
Yes.
And they are protected under state law.
Right. And I'm told that right now they have an issue at the park in Southport with some of those beautiful oaks being diseased.
Yeah.
So
I've heard about that.
they have professionals coming in to see what can be done about it because they don't want to cut them down.
Yeah.
That would be terrible.
Yeah, and the thing is what a lot of people don't realize is these oak trees at 25, 30 years, they'll have 20 to 30% more canopy than a pine tree will ever have.
Oh, yes.
And so a lot of people are like, let's not clear cut. I understand that urge to stop the clear cutting. I really do. And I support the goal they're trying to achieve, but there's a better way to do it because just like going down the sides of the highway, you'll see crepe myrtles everywhere. Well, imagine if they'd put pin oaks there. You have a canopy that can actually overshadow the road, and during the summer will lower the temperature of the asphalt, which lowers the degradation of it.
Right.
So you can actually make the roads last longer. It can also, if there's enough of them, you can have a large enough continuous canopy to where you actually lower ground temperatures.
Wow.
So there's a lot of pluses to it, and one of the big issues around here, and a lot of people move here and don't realize this, Brunswick County is swampland. The entire coastal plain, from South Carolina, well, actually, the entire coast plain up the eastern coast, is swampland. And people don't realize that. So when you start clear cutting this land, you have to build drainage, stormwater drainage.
Right.
And you and I both know in BSL that's a major issue.
It is.
And everywhere they're developing it can be an issue, but there's ways and things that we can do that when they clear cut the land doesn't matter as much as what we put back.
Right.
You know, if you're building all asphalt and concrete, we got a problem. But if you create riparian buffers around those projects, then you're creating an absorption area.
Yes, because, I mean, people have to know if you clear cut an area, you have a larger chance of flooding. Trees absorb water.
Yeah, and there's a thing, it's grass is good, shrubs are better, trees are best.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, so you want to have basically something green.
Yeah.
And even if you have to have, you know, say you clear 100 acres to build a shopping center.
Right.
If you have a 30-foot green barrier around that, you have something to absorb it. And that's actually constitutional to do because you're protecting the immediate adjoining properties.
That's right.
And that's the only time you can apply environmental onto a single property.
You're very smart.
I've been researching this for quite a while,
That's
and
a
I
great
can't tell you how
idea.
many court cases.
And not only that, but it looks nicer.
Yeah, over time, if say they have to clear it all to build, if they create that barrier around them,
Right.
over time, when you're driving by, you won't even know it's there.
I
Other
know.
than the sign for the shopping center or something, you're not even going to know it's there. So you're basically recreating the beautiful environment that we already have here,
Right.
but still using the land without destroying it.
I think, don't you agree that maybe prior to 2012, we had a big boom of building and carrying on. And I think it's gotten, you know, predominantly bigger as the years go by after COVID, and then we just went right back into it, only at a larger scale. And I believe that prior to that, when people went in to build a home, say a single family home, okay, I don't think that their thought was, it's okay, I don't have to save any of these trees because this is where my house is going to be. And I don't think they were thinking at that time about flooding or shade
Or that they're living in swampland.
right, any of that stuff. They cleared the area, they cleared that piece of property and built their house. Well, we've come to a point after all these years that it is not just a house, it is many,
100,
many,
200
many
houses.
houses. So it's actually, that has made a difference because people are realizing that
The problems they're creating.
exactly
Yeah.
because of the influx of people coming and wanting new homes, et cetera, et cetera. But I think that they are now realizing that you can't cut all those trees down and not have a flooding issue. But up until that point, it wasn't a big problem.
Yeah, because you weren't doing such large sections of
Right.
land. It's like the project that's on 87 that's
Mm-hmm.
undergoing right now. They're
Yep.
putting in the utilities and everything. They left little pockets of trees, but here's the thing: that's swamp.
Yeah,
It's soaking wet there, so they couldn't even get equipment in there to take out those trees. That land's not usable, so they had to leave those, and that's good. But if they'd have taken that development and left the barrier all the way around it,
right.
that would have given the whole of the property an absorption area.
Yeah,
But also, typically people plant trees in their yards.
sure.
They want what they want where they want it.
Right.
And I understand that because, and we have a constitutional right to use our land, as the Supreme Court has ruled, in a manner that is common, normal, and reasonable.
Right.
So, like for myself, example, when I built my fence, I had to take out several pines, but I replanted 16 trees along my fence line.
Okay.
So it'll look, and when the trees are more mature, it'll look kind of like a Kentucky horse ranch
Nice.
because it's a wooden fence and it'll have the nice trees
Sure.
shading over it and all. But that's creating a riparian buffer between my yard and my neighbor's,
Right.
which his is all grass. He doesn't have any trees.
Uh-huh.
His house was built about 15, 20 years ago.
Yeah.
And so that way I've got a riparian buffer, but I also know the grade of the land. I retired from DOT, so I understand hydraulics and
Sure.
stormwater and all.
Yep.
And if people will just think about where they're putting their house, how they're going to use their land, and some people are like myself, my lot is predominantly cleared, but I'm going back and planting the trees.
Sure.
My driveway going into the back, instead of being concrete, is gravel. So helps absorb the water. And because I want to help control that runoff.
Right.
Stormwater, people don't realize just how bad stormwater runoff is
Oh,
to our
yeah.
community, the degradation of the roads.
Come to BSL when we have a huge rainstorm. We will take you and show you.
You can go down 87 through BSL right now, and there's some of the ditches you can go swimming in.
Yes.
I mean, they're still full of water, and
Yeah.
it's been, what, a week since the last storm?
Yep. And we're about to have another one, so
Mm-hmm.
you know, I know that, and I'm sure it's the same in other municipalities, but there are several lots in our city that do not perk, will not perk, unless you spend a great deal of money and haul in some dirt.
And then the county has an ordinance where you can't raise the level of the land
Right.
more than, 6 inches or 8 inches?
Yep.
And so if you have to do a 2-foot rise to have a septic tank,
You're in trouble.
yeah. By the time you pay for the variance for that, you'd have been better off to buy another lot.
Yep. But you know, back when that city was founded, those things weren't thought of. We didn't have ordinances then. They didn't worry about that stuff. I know that there are some housing, areas of houses that really don't even have a setback between them. There's no place for a fire truck to drive in, which
Yeah.
is now a law. But, these places grandfathered into whatever because of the fact they were built back then, and they're not going to make them tear them down.
Yep.
So, but when you think about that and the fact that we have an overwhelming population now and growing daily, these things have come to light, and we've got to consider them.
And that was one of the things this past weekend. We were coming back from South Carolina, and just coming up 17 through Brunswick County, counted 14 significant housing developments being
Right.
built.
Yeah.
That's a problem, and it's something that needs to be addressed and done so quickly.
Yeah.
But there are ways to do it to where we can use the land, just not destroy it.
Right.
And I think part of the problem is with people talking at each other instead of talking to each other. It's my way or no way, and that's just not realistic.
Right.
We have property rights we have to consider, and you can do so in a manner that you can create these barriers around and have the beauty of Brunswick County that we want, and still let people use their land.
Right, because it is beautiful. I mean, people refer to this area as paradise, and I agree. I mean, it's incredible. I love Brunswick County.
But we don't need to get to the point where we can't afford to live in paradise anymore.
No, that's true. And that's another whole story.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, something else we talked about yesterday, Todd and I had a meeting, and we heard that in Leland, the board had discussed the probability of raising taxes for road repair. And I know a lot of the citizens, and the few that I have since talked to, are very upset about that.
Yeah, I'd like to know the whole story on that,
I
because
know.
there's got to be more to it than just the roads.
And you know what? We will look into that for sure and come back with it. But usually, and see, this is where I know that a few weeks ago we had a couple of the county commissioners on the show, and we talked about roads in North Carolina. And here's our expert who worked many years for the DOT. And what people did not realize was that roads are not owned by certain entities. People just assume it.
The county doesn't own roads.
Exactly. The county has nothing to do with roads, okay?
Correct.
There are roads that are owned by the individual municipalities
Correct.
and by the state. Period.
That's why a lot of stop signs, if you look down, you'll see 4 white and black numbers. That's the state road designation. The state designates every road with a number,
Yep.
and that's how they identify them.
Okay.
A lot of times if you contact DOT and say, hey, there's a pothole on such and such road, and they'll say, well, what's the road number?
Okay.
And
Well,
that's what
that's
they're
good to
referring
know.
to. Because all our maps are in numbers.
Right.
So it
Yeah.
just makes it easier if you have the number.
Sure.
A lot of roads, they'll know pretty much what the road number is because it's a common road. But
so when it comes to the issue of road repair, okay, if it is owned by the municipality, then of course they must find a way to repair them.
100% of the cost.
Yeah.
And I'm really looking forward to getting more information on this.
Me too.
I know kind of the issues we're having in BSL, where the city's trying to pave more roads right now. But I'm also looking at how they're doing it and what problems we're going to have down the road.
Sure.
A lot of times, and unfortunately BSL's got this problem, they come in and they grade the road and they put down asphalt. They don't actually build a road. And what is happening, just like I'm on North all, Shore, and you can see the edges, the shoulders of the roads all the asphalt's cracking and busting. Well, the reason being is because the road is so narrow. You get two full-size vehicles try to pass each other, somebody has to run off the road.
Right.
Well, that going off the road and coming back on it, it just keeps breaking it
Right.
and tearing it up.
Well, I think in to address that is a necessity, I'm sure, but I believe that the individual municipalities get to a point where they've got to come up with the money somewhere. They've got to do the best that they can.
Well, they get POW bill money from the
Right,
state
right.
for a percentage of
Yes,
that maintenance.
yes,
And they
but
have
it-
to come up with the rest.
Very seldom covers much.
Yeah. Well, and that's part of why I want to learn more about this issue.
Sure.
And if you're a citizen there and you've been keeping up with it and know some information, please email us.
Email us because we would like very much
yeah.
to get your
Wanna
feedback
hear all
on
sides
it.
of it.
Yep. And that is all things Brunswick County at gmail.com. We would love to hear from you, and we are going to look into this further
Yeah.
because it is definitely an interesting issue.
Yeah, and a quite expensive one
Yes.
from what they're saying.
Yeah.
I don't want to throw any numbers out there because
No.
We haven't confirmed anything.
Right.
But just in the discussions that I've heard, it seems a bit much. And I'm kind of curious as to what the whole story is. And hopefully we can get someone from there to come
Yeah.
on the show and
That would be great. And
speak
we'll-
English to us.
We definitely will do that. We will probably invite a board member to join us and talk about this issue. But in the meantime, we would like to hear from you folks in Leland, how you feel about that, if you know anything about it,
Yeah.
what your neighbors feel, anything at all. Just shoot us an email. I really appreciate it. Another interesting subject that I would like to talk about, and we have talked about it on the show several times, sometimes pleasantly and other times not.
Uh-oh.
This area has so many mixed emotions when it comes to wind generation. We have actually a lot of people that are so totally opposed to it because they really don't know the facts. And, unfortunately, rumor is not fact. It's rumor.
Well, and that's part of my problem. I'm one of the people that's on the fence because I don't know enough about it.
Right.
Like you said, you can go by rumors, but rumors aren't fact.
No.
And I want to learn more facts about it
Right.
because I know we had spoken, we were talking about possibly 25 miles off the coast. Well, 25 miles off the coast isn't going to affect anybody with a beach house because you're not going
Right.
to see it.
Right. Well, this is just something that was brought up, that there is the possibility that they are looking at wind generation off the coast in Southport. And it's very new. We talked about it before because they are definitely doing it in Wilmington, what they refer to as Wilmington East. And those will be, you will be able to see those, unfortunately, from Ballhead, just because of their placement, okay? I don't know how the people out there feel about that because I have not talked to anyone out there.
I wonder if they even know.
And I believe they do.
Do you?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, but that is something that I wish to continue our discussions on. We had Catherine Collins and Carly Lowen with us twice, more than twice, I believe, on the show. Catherine is the director of Wind Coalition in 11 states. And Carly is outreach, and she is stationed in Wilmington. And I probably would ask both of them to come back and talk to us. So,
Can I be on that day?
oh, absolutely. And folks, if you, I once again, please, I invite feedback. Please email us and let us know how you feel about it. If you feel like it's a worthwhile venture, do you have questions? Do you know something I don't?
Yeah.
This is something I heard, and I know that it's in this area.
Well, and they're going to have to do something because there's so much demand putting on our power grid.
Right.
Even all these new housing
Right.
developments,
Yep.
Let alone
And that was my
electric
first
cars.
thought. Yeah.
We've got to power them somehow. Our grid is maxed out
Right.
now.
Yep.
In fact, in Cumberland County, back, I think it was last Christmas, we had rolling blackouts because they couldn't generate enough
Right.
power. When we had it, it got so cold. That's not typical for there, and the system couldn't handle it. So we actually had to do 24-hour blackouts.
Right. So I'd like, please email us and let us know your thoughts, feelings, or any facts you might have or rumors you might have heard. I want to hear everything. And on that note, we're going to take another break and pay some bills, and we'll be right back. What a great place we all call home. From colorful sunsets to panoramic coastal views. The best attractions are its people, a community of friends and family. J.K. Summers, attorney at law, recognizes this fact and is proud of his work to protect their rights. Put your trust in him to prepare wills and trusts, real estate transactions, contract and LLC creations, and criminal, traffic, and civil matters. Visit oakislandlaw.com or call 910-253-5572. J.K. Summers, attorney at law.
Veteran Awareness sponsored by You Are Not Alone. Today's veteran homeless rate is approximately 19,750, and the numbers are declining because of the various veteran programs. If you or a veteran you know is homeless, please call 877-4AID-VET. This is a confidential and toll-free call. From this veteran to other veterans, please be there to help our brother and sister veterans. Again, the number is 1-877-424-3838. And thank you for your service.
Welcome back, folks, to All Things Brunswick. Boy, this hour has just flown.
Yes, it has.
Good grief. We have a few more minutes to talk about some things. And I think before I go any further, I don't want you to forget about my co-host, Todd Osborne. And you have given us a lot of great information today. And I thank you very much for that.
I'm just trying to help.
Oh, you're doing a great job.
I mean, we've got a lot of issues in our county, and issues that you and I aren't even aware of.
Right.
And because, we're up in BSL Southport area, so
Yeah.
we don't really see what's going on in Caswell and Calabash and
Right.
Ocean Isle and all.
Yeah.
So it's really important, if you have an issue in your part of the county, please email us.
Oh, please.
And let us know about it.
Yes.
So we can get with the people and the representatives in that area to find out what we can do to help.
Yeah, we would like to share anything that you wish to have us share with the county.
Yeah.
We are actually, the show kind of reaches out a little bit beyond the county as well. So, but the show is All Things Brunswick. So anything that pertains to this county is what we want to share with all of you.
And keep in mind, issues that may only be occurring in your town, Calabash or wherever, eventually it's probably going to happen in the other towns.
Well, they're still important.
So we,
Yeah.
we need to know about those because these things, they spread like wildfire.
Yep.
And we need to be better prepared and get the right people to talk to, so we get
Absolutely.
the accurate information.
Yeah.
We've got a lot of great leaders in our county. We're very fortunate in that respect.
Yes.
so-
And we have we have the option, folks, to come out to your business and do a remote if you should wish. We'd love to do that. We are always looking for sponsors. We have a very fair sponsor package. Your particular ad would show many times in the course of a day, and obviously during the show every Tuesday. So if you are interested in something like that, please email me and I'll get in touch with you right away. And then if you would like to do a remote from your business, we would be happy to do that.
That would be awesome.
I
Can we
know.
get lunch?
Well, maybe it'll be a great restaurant.
Yeah.
Yes, because we're circumventing what we used to do in all things Brunswick and changing a lot of it to suit you, because you are the most important thing to our show.
That's why we do what we do.
Yes. And I want to thank TK, our great tech guy. Between TK and CB, I love this. They have names that are letters, TK and CB, so they're really easy to remember. These guys are great. They rock. Trust me. They know their business. They are Coastal Carolina Network. We love them. They do a great job for us. So please, I'd like to hear from anybody and everybody. Let us know what you think.
Yeah, because, I mean, there's things going on, and we might be able to get a hold of the right person to talk to help resolve them.
Sure.
We got some great county commissioners, and whether you're in Oak Island or BSL or Calabash or wherever, we got great leaders in those towns too.
Yes.
And
Yep.
they are more than glad to help and speak up and get involved. So, and that's what we need. We need you to get involved.
Oh,
Give us
absolutely.
the information.
I believe that things progress and happen in the right way when we get everybody concerned involved in the
Yep.
project. So, and how much time we got, TK? Oh my gosh, we're going to have to say goodbye. I can't believe it. The hour went whoosh.
Well, thanks for having me.
Thank you, Todd. Thank you for joining me in this quest, and I look forward to doing many more shows with you.
That would be nice.
Yes. Please join us next Tuesday again at 6 o'clock. In the meantime, I'm going to check my email. I hope to hear from a lot of you. It is, once again, all things Brunswick County at gmail.com. And
I'm looking forward to the responses. I mean, seriously, I want to see what people have to say, what they
Yeah.
see as concerns.
hey, absolutely.
So.
Thank you, folks. Have a good night, and thanks for joining us.
Night, y'all.